Do you think Nebraska is capable of competing in a national championship again as a program? Do they have the foundation for it?
I feel like the facilities, I feel like the coaches there. I think it's all comes down to culture, and you just see, reading. Believe me, I drink the Kool-Aid as much as anybody, but just reading the tea leaves with guys not entering the portal. I mean, I do, and then not only that, you've got guys transferring in that are, and I don't know how. We got mixed emotions about that too, but at the same time, it's becoming. People are talking about it again. It's becoming relevant. And that's not just because we've got the biggest bag, because there's schools out there with more money handing it out to players than we do. I hopefully got my fingers crossed that good things are coming our way. I think Coach Rhule is the type of guy that, he cares about his players. I think the players feel that. And I think, it's heading in the right direction. I'm not saying we're going to win the Big Ten this year, but I do think to say that Nebraska will be in the national championship playoff again at some point, absolutely.
Yeah,
Hell
absolutely. Yeah, and I think Coach Rhule will has a ton to do with that. Being the coach that he is, we had an opportunity last year to go with Coach McBride. Charlie McBride lives about an hour or so from us here in Indiana. They're right in Michigan, so we see them, quite a bit. And so we went out to the game. And when Coach Rhule found out that Coach, McBride was coming to the game, it was, please come to every practice, comes out and talks to us, has us involved, stops practice in the middle of practice, stops practice, which you guys, you understand, like, time in practice is just, I mean, that's gold. Stops practice, has every player come up, shake our hands, give us a hug, and then they get back at it. And then Coach has us both speak after practice. I mean, and that's the stuff that, building culture and building, and building, trust with these young kids and showing them, what used to be, and especially with Coach McBride and being one of the greatest ever. It was awesome, and that's where I was really on board with Coach Rhule after that. It just was so he was so gracious, and I was so I was so excited and being there at that time.
Yeah, I think the thing that strikes me with Coach Rhule is there's a genuine desire to be transparent. He's letting you in. You see every corner of what's going on in this program, other than every play detailed out, right? He's not going to show that stuff, but he's letting full access to behind the scenes, to all the things that are going on, highlighting the community service side of things with the players and the team, and the fact that he wants them to invest in the community. His wife has just opened a business in Nebraska, so he says he's here for the long haul. I worry, though, if they decide in Happy Valley that James Franklin isn't cutting the mustard, that his alma mater's not going to come calling. But I think we've got, as BA coach's show says, I think we have some potential head coaches on this staff. I think you've got a couple of guys in the defensive line coach, especially, and the strides that those guys made, and then the linebackers coach and Dvorak, that very well could be the guy that's next in line if Tony White ends up moving on for a head coaching spot. So I like where we're at as a staff. I like the fact that these guys absolutely love working for Rhule. He has an extremely high standard. He holds them to it. And by God, they seem to be getting the job done. I'm kind of a ceiling floor guy. So I'm kind of like 7 and 5 is kind of my floor for 24, but the ceiling very well with the way this schedule sets up and the fact that you have a realistic shot at being undefeated going into the first bye week. This team could be 10-2 and possibly staring at an opportunity to host a playoff game in December. Oh, yeah. Bring Miami to Lincoln in December. That's what I say.
Somebody took their big dose of Kool-Aid this morning, didn't they?
Yeah. Oh, we've been chugging it. We've been chugging it.
That's right. That's right. I don't drink anymore, but I do enjoy the Rhule-Aid.
Yep.
The Rhule-Aid.
Yeah, that was our last episode, Rhule-Aid versus reality, where we kind of picked the schedule, went game by game for the schedule. We looked at it through a quote unquote realistic point of view, and then for a Rhule-Aid colored glasses point of view. And it was a lot of fun. Let's see here. Do we have any other questions in the chat, Scott? I don't really see any more.
Just a really good statement from Michelle. Just really, really highlighting this conversation tone that we've been having, which is that we aren't clinging to the past as much as honoring the legacy and helping those young men understand what they're being looked to in the resurgence.